Hi there, my name is Virginia Frank. I am an independent distributor of SeneGence products. My distributor ID is 246365. If you're watching this video, it's because you're interested in our compensation plan, or you're already a distributor and you'd like an easy way to break down the compensation plan. So with SeneGence, there's actually two ways to make money. The first way is through retail commissions, and the second way is through downline and group sales bonuses when you grow a team. So let's talk about sales commissions. So with sales commissions, you have a lot of control of the amount, the percent that you're going to make. You control your profit margin. So we've got 20%, 30%, 40%, and 50%. It's all based on volume, and we go by PV, which is point value. So I have a little cheat sheet here just to keep me on track. But we're going to talk about the profit that you can actually make from these different levels. So from 0 to 99 PV, you're at 20%. And this is going to cost you $0 to $192. This is before tax and shipping. So at this cost here, your profit is also going to be $0 to $47.99. So this is your profit at that level. At 30%, this is 100 PV to 299.5 PV. This is 30%. It's going to cost you $168 to $504. And your profit here is going to be between $72 to $215.99, which is, again, your profit. Okay? And then at the next level, from 300 PV to 749.5 PV, we've got a 40% discount. So this is going to cost you from $432 up to $1,080. So your profit margin, or your potential profit here, is $288 to $719.99, and that's profit. And then we get to our biggest profit margin, which is 50%, which is my personal favorite because I want to make more money. So 750 PV is going to cost you about $900, then plus tax and shipping. And then there's a little plus sign here, because once you reach this point, the possibility is endless. You'll always be at 50% profit. So say you do place a 750 PV order, it's going to cost you $900, but your profit is also $900 plus, which is pretty awesome. So what I want to talk about here is what is the biggest bang for your buck. So I've got little stars here. Biggest bang for your buck. For your money. And when I say what I mean when I say that is that if you look at the top range and the low range of the different categories, you'll actually see you're jumping in profit as well when you jump into that next percentage. So if we look here, if I do 299.5 PV, it's going to cost me $504. But if I bump it up that extra half PV, it's only going to cost me $432. And not only that, here, 299.5, I'm only going to get 215 profit. But at spending 432, I'm actually going to make 288. So even if you're sitting at the mid-range in the 30% level, you're going to want to bump yourself up, because you're going to make that little bit of extra money. And then it gets even higher. I'm just going to grab a different color here. Let's use red. It's going to get even higher, because if we think about, if you're sitting around 700 PV, it's going to cost you about $1,080. This is before tax and shipping. And then if you look at, once you hit the 750 PV, it's only costing you $900 for relatively the same amount, but your profit is quite a bit different. So here, your profit is only $7.19, but if you're able to bump yourself up to this $7.50, you're actually going to make $200 pretty much more just by bumping yourself up to this $7.50 PV. So for myself, I always aim for $7.50 because I want to make the most amount of money, but a lot of people like to go for the 300 PV range because it's still, these are a really great discount break points, which is 40% and 50%. So this is pretty much how our sales commission is broken down. You're making money by selling our product. The next way to make money begins when you start to build a team. Here we go. So I already got myself set up here. So I'm just going to get a different color marker again. So this is our downline commission. It's money paid on the first 100 CV. So CV is commission value and PV is point value. So for Canada, CV is based on your country. So for Canada, we multiply PV by 1.2. And that's how we know what our dollar amount is. So right now I'll just say that it's money paid on the first 100 CV. We won't make it super complicated. We'll just talk about the percents because that's really what matters. So to make money on the first 100 CV, within your first 3 lines, which would be right here, here's you, here's your first line, second line, and third line. So they could have any amount of PV, and it could be 5 or 3, or so within here, any on the first 100 PV, CV, PV. So you could have only 3 people here doing 100, you could have 3 here doing 100, so for the first 3 lines, you will make a percentage. So on the first line, you're going to make 10%. On the second line, you're going to make 20%. On your third line, you're going to make 30%. So technically that means that if they place 100 PV, and then they've got the equivalent of the 100 CV, you'd make $10, $20, and $30 based on your first, second, and third line. Now when we do so I'm going to do this, so your first to third, in order to collect that also, you need to place 100 PV that month. So you place 100 PV and you will collect the 10, 20, and 30% on all of your first lines up to the first 100 PV. I hope that's easy to understand. So I'm going to switch color again. So for your fourth line, it's a little bit different. There's a couple of qualifications here that you need to meet in order to get this increase in pay, we'll call it, for commission. So you need to place a minimum of 200 PV that month. And then you also need, sorry, I have a cheat sheet here. Let me just double check. And then you need at least 5 people on your first line to place 100 PV. Okay, so you place 200 PV, you've got 5 on your first line that are placing 100 PV, and then as long as the first 3 lines, you've got a group sales volume of, I believe it's 10,000, I've got cheat sheets everywhere, 10,000 PV, then you're going to collect 5% on that first 100 CV of who's ever on your fourth line. Now you could have plus. It doesn't have to be just 5 people, it's plus, right? So on your fourth line, these in the orange here is your qualifications. You need to place the 200 PV. Your first line, you need a minimum of 5, placing 100 PV. And then you also need a group sales volume for your first 3 lines for 10,000 PV. Okay, and then this last one here for your 5th line, it's a little bit different. So for you, for that month, you need to place 300 PV. That's the order that you need to place in order to unlock the 5th line. And then your first line instead of 100 PV, they need to place at least 200 PV. And you need 5 people that you personally sponsored to do that. And you also need a group sales volume. I'm going to make it short. You need a group sales volume of 15,000 here. And that's PV. Yes, PV. Of course it's PV. Okay? Okay, so we're going to move on to the group sales volume. So here's our group sales volume bonus. Now this is where things get fun and interesting because this is where you can make a lot of money. So this is money paid on all the CV, all the PV placed, minus that first CV we discussed in the Downline Commissions. So for your first line, you are going to need to place a minimum of 100 PV. And then anybody in your first line, anything that they place, so anything over 100 or 100 even, anything over 100 is what you are going to make this group sales volume bonus. So anything over 100 CV. And then what's going to happen is you will make 10% on that amount. So you could have tons and tons and tons of people on your first line. Anything they place over 100, it doesn't matter if it's 2 people or 1 person or 100 people. You will make 10% on anything over that first 100. And then for the second line, you need to place, for your second line to your fifth line, to collect any of these, you need to place 300 PV. Okay? And then you need a minimum of 5 people that you personally sponsored to place 300. Okay? So when these people have placed 300, then you can start to collect from this second line here. So to collect from the second line, they all need to place 300 as well. Right? Yeah, so to collect any of your second line, you need at least 5 on your first line to place this 300 PV, and you need 5 on your second line to place at least 300 PV. And then that could go on. Once you've reached the minimum 5, then it's a plus, so it could be way more than that. And then you need to place your minimum of 300. So once you've reached that point, if you're going to start collecting commission on your third line, this is how it's going to work. Actually, let me just circle this because you've already reached this point and you've already reached that point by getting here. Okay, so to start collecting on your third line, you would have had 5 people that you personally sponsored place at least a 300 PV order. You've got at least 5 on your second line placing a 300 PV order. And then you're going to need at least 5 on your third line placing a 300 PV order, and then you'll unlock this 4% of your third line. So now we've reached our third line, and say you start adding people down here, remember it does not come into effect until you have those 5. So for your fourth line, it's going to be the exact same thing. You need to qualify 300, 300, 300 of at least 5 people, and then your fourth line is also going to be 300. And then once you reach 5, then it's all pluses because you could have more than that. This is where, like I said, it is a group sales volume bonus. This is where big money is made. So you want to get to this point. This is why you should build a team. It's not for everybody, but it could definitely benefit you in revenue, in money. So once we've reached our 4th level, and in this month we've placed our 300 PV, our first, second, third, and fourth line, we've got 5 at least on each line that have placed 300 PV. And then we start getting people on our 5th line who place 300 PV. 300. And then we'll unlock this 2% here. I didn't circle this one, but we did already unlock this one, right? So, just looking at my cheat sheet real quick. So yes, once you've got at least 5 people that were personally sponsored, so these guys have to be personally sponsored by you, and then we've got 5 on each level that have placed 300, that's when you start to unlock the percentage that goes along with it. So your first line is 10, your second line is 6%, your third line is 4%, your fourth line is 3%, and your 5th line is 2%. So maybe 2 and 3 doesn't seem like a whole lot, but once your business starts to spread and people start adding more people and your team grows, it's obviously all going to add up. The last thing I want to talk about is compression here. So say you have somebody here, and that's your 5th person, and so you don't have this person here. So say you've got 5 people here, this person places 0, and then you've got somebody here that places 300. So technically there's a compression that happens, and this becomes on your first line. So because you did not personally sponsor them, when they compress up, they don't count towards your qualification to reach your next line. So you actually need 5 people that you've personally sponsored to place this 300 PV to unlock the next qualifications. So I hope this made sense to you. I hope it makes you want to build your own team and maybe inspire them to build their own team, because that's how this works. It's network marketing. I really like the compensation plan that SeneGence has. For retail sales, I like that I get to choose my own profit margin. I always go for 50% because then it means more money for me, and it also means that if I do decide to have some sort of a special and offer 5, 10, or 15% off, that it's not cutting that much into my profit. So I really like that. And then I've also had, I'm enjoying the team benefits of my downline commissions and my group sales volume. So get to work and build your team, because it's going to benefit you in the long run. Thanks so much for watching, guys. If you have any questions, please let me know and I'll try and answer them for you. I hope this video was helpful, and I hope you're able to understand the SeneGence compensation plan. Thanks so much, guys. Bye!